All right, we are live. Thank you for joining us today. We're live for another recording of the Managing Partners podcast. We're coming to you on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So please check this out there. You can share it, watch it again later. I'm Kevin Daisy, your host, and also the founder of Array Digital. We help lawyers fill their pipelines using digital marketing. So if you need that kind of help, let us know. Reach out, go to arraylaw.com. But today, the big focus is my guest out of Atlanta, Shawna Woods. Thanks for joining us.
Kevin, thanks for having me. It's really great to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your story, and I'm sure others looking to learn from what you've done and how you've been successful and pick up a little bit of knowledge from what you have to share. So let's get right into it. Could you tell us a little bit your background, your story personally, how you fell into getting into this career, and then really how you've gotten to where you are today?
Absolutely. So my background's a little bit different. My trajectory was probably a little bit different than most people who went to law school. Law school is never anything I thought of growing up. In fact, I am the first person in my family to go to college, much less go on to a further degree. I grew up was raised in a religion that actually frowned upon education. And I left that religion when I was in my teen years. Still hadn't had college on my mind then, I guarantee you. But then one of the things that I would say really did change my life is I had my daughter when I was 18. And at that moment, I knew that I wanted a much different life for her than I had had growing up. And that, it appeared I was going to have as an adult. I wanted to change both our lives. And so it's at that moment I decided I was going to put myself through college, and I did. And then went on to law school, and I did. And I was in New Mexico. And that's where I was born and raised. And the trajectory was actually, I was accepted into the United States Air Force. I was going JAG. And then as things happened, along came an attorney who had a firm here in Georgia. And he convinced me to move to Georgia and start a family law practice with his particular firm. And so my daughter and I moved out to Georgia, and that's where the story really came, is to law school.
He's a really good sales guy.
He was a fantastic sales guy. He looked at me and said, "Shawna, what do you think about Georgia?" And I was like, "I don't think about Georgia."
And now here you are.
And now I hear he flew us out here, put us up in the Ritz, and took us to this, wonderful fancy dinner. So I was like, well, Georgia's great. This is fantastic. And here we are. Now, the family law portion of his firm never really did take off. They were mostly criminal defense and did focus mostly on that. But family law was always my focus going into law school. It was, it's that compassion and that empathy that you need to practice this certain type of law that really drew me towards it. And making a difference in people's lives. That's really what, we wanted to focus on. We all go to law school thinking we're going to change the world. Well, sometimes the family law lawyers get to do it one case at a time.
Yeah. You change someone's world.
That's right.
Yeah. That's excellent. So, with the firm you're at now, so when did you kind of part ways with the other firm? So where you are now as the managing partner?
So a little bit of a jump from where I was then until where I am now. I left there and I went and worked with another family law firm for about 3 years. And at that point in time, decided to start my own firm. And I had my own very successful firm for about 3 years when I was in court one day and I was practicing against another attorney, obviously another firm, and we just went toe to toe. And we would not shut up. We would not back down. We wouldn't quit. And about a year later, they called me up and said, "Would you come run our firm?"
Wow.
And this is another firm, not the one I'm at now.
That's
But
excellent.
so I went and did that for a good portion of the time, for about 6 years. But then I got to the point where I was done with firm life. I mean, I wasn't even sure I wanted to be a lawyer anymore, honestly. And so I had left and was doing some of counsel work when I got approached by a recruiter for this particular position. And I told her what I just told you guys. I'm done with firm life. I'm not doing this. But then I met Sarah Kaki, who's the owner of the firm, and our missions just met. You know, we had these two goals in mind about how to run a family law firm and how to treat, you know, your coworkers and your employees, and how we want a firm to feel instead of what I think firms sometimes turn into. So that's how I got here. I've been here now, looks like a year and a half. And
Awesome.
it's been a really wonderful and very successful year and a half for us.
That's excellent. And for everyone tuning in, you can check out the website. It's atlantadivorcelawgroup.com at the bottom of your screen. And I'll throw that in the comments so you can go check out the firm. I was able to take a look and watch the video that you guys have on there, which is really nice. You can learn more, too, about Shawna and her background and story as well. And if you're in the Atlanta area and you need their help, of course, reach out. And I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. I'll put that in the comments real quick. And then, okay, so that's there for people to click on and take a look at. So, you know, coming into this, you've been about a year and a half. I'm sure you have a lot of responsibilities. And I like the way the firm positions itself, how it comes off, the website, the content, the values is very apparent, which, you know, is, I guess, rare, I believe. I talked to a lot of attorneys. So it's nice to have ones on the show that the firm is in that position and holds strong to what they believe. Give us a little background on what your firm's doing to attract new clients. Any kind of marketing techniques, anything that's unique or different. I know you've been here a year and a half, but what have you seen as far as what's been working versus maybe changes that you've made since you've come in?
You know, we always look at who's getting the clicks, right? Who's getting the clicks when people put in, you know, whatever lawyers they're searching for, Atlanta divorce lawyers, or, you know, aggressive divorce lawyers, or whatever you're looking for. We're always saying who's getting those clicks. But one of the things that I've really found recently is that people who are coming to us aren't just coming from the clicks. They may see us there, but people are really doing research now. And I think that's really important. One of the things, we have our YouTube channel, which a lot of people will come to me and say, it was your YouTube channel that brought me to you. It was you, two of you, or your partner and your, you know, or one of the other attorneys talking about how to do adoption, or how to divorce a narcissist, or whatever the topic was that they're particularly listening to. We do a lot of free information type of things that you can see on our page. Yeah, we do webinars once a month. We do a therapy session that's run by a local counselor at least once a month. There are a lot of things that we do that give to the community, that puts our name out there without asking for anything in return. And I think that's what they really see is, oh, you know, they're actually giving us something, not making us pay $1 to come in and meet with them for an hour, right? Yeah. So I think that's one of the things that's really important. Myself personally, I love those personal referrals. So for me in particular, it's the networking. It's the getting involved. And as we're coming up out of being closed down in the pandemic, back up into somewhat of a life, right? You're seeing a lot of people attending these network events. You know, a lot of people are hungry to meet the people that they're going to be working with. And I think that's very important, that we not lose touch of those old school ways of simply, you know, shaking someone's hand and taking them for a coffee.
100%. Yeah, everyone's ready to get back to that. I know I am, for sure. And I've already been back at it to some degree. So really awesome to see that. But I love what you have to share with that. I'm glad YouTube's working for you and that content. And I think you can have a website, which you have to have a website. You can be found on search, and you can have ads or whatever else you're doing. But at the end of the day, what information they're taking in and how you're your content and your website and all those things, that has to actually convert them, which means they have to have enough information and feel comfortable enough to reach out, phone call, form, whatever. And I think with a divorce specifically, you know, you don't wake up at 3 a.m. and go, oh, I'm going to get a divorce today. Like, so there's probably a long period of research and time that goes into it. And so if they get exposed to your content and you're helping them with just free content, videos, they get to learn about you, they get to see you. And I've actually got clients where I've been watching your videos for 6 months, and then boom, they call and say, we want to hire you. Almost, they don't even ask questions about, just, we want to go ahead and hire you. So they feel like they know you. They get to see you on those videos and that content. And then they just, once they're ready to become a client, they wouldn't even think about going anywhere else. So I totally agree with you. I think that's great how you're taking them through that journey, and there is a buyer journey. And I think now some things might be different. Like, I'm going to go buy a soda. It's a very short buyer journey. But things like this, I mean, people do the research. They're going to take their time. And if you're there to help them along their way, then you become the brand they remember and recognize. So kudos to you guys for that. I'll have to check out your YouTube channel and see what you guys are doing there. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that, you know, we are one of the type of people, you're going to tell us things that you're probably never going to tell your best friend. And we're going to be there with you for a while. And you've got to trust the people that you're working with and know that they're coming from a place of integrity. And I do think it comes through on each and everything that we're trying to do, you know, before you even have a website, you need to develop your brand. Right? What does your 100%. Brand say about you? Who are you talking to? And, you know, when you know who your avatar is, that's when you kind of develop your brand. And again, just standing from that place of saying, I'm going to do this the right way. And here's how I want to be fair to my clients and being fair to the business. And I do think it shines through. And I really have to give a lot of that credit, because this is a very young firm. We're about 5 years old. You know, our attorneys are not that young, but our firm is. So I do have to give a lot of credit to Sarah Kaki, because she had that vision of developing the brand and putting forth our ideas of how to handle clients first.
Yeah. And honestly, based on just our brief conversation, you probably wouldn't even be here in this position if it wasn't for that. Like if a firm was in like shambles and was just like, we need your help because it's, you know, we don't know what we're doing. Their brand was terrible and their messaging was bad. You'd probably be less likely to want to take that challenge on. I don't know, but you saw good things. You saw good things already established.
Yeah, you know, there's always tweaking and improvements to be made. And I think what I brought to the table is what needed to be brought to the table, but what they already had and what really drew me was really that word I keep going back to is the integrity. It was like, we want to do this right. And I love being able to look at the clients across the table and saying, so we're allowed to charge you for doing XYZ PDQ, but we don't. Right? We actually only charge you for the amount of time we're working on your case. And just those little things, I think, really do make a difference to people.
Yeah, that's excellent. And another good point you made too is a lot of people think their brand is like their logo they got made, or just throwing up a website, you know, just quickly and slap it up. We have a website, check, you know. And back to my point to bring it all together is, you really have to have all these things figured out, and you have to plan and think and be intentional. And so if you're found in search, like the clicks, like you're saying, if all these other things are just not on point, or it doesn't really matter, there's no integrity there, at the end of the day, it's not all going to work the way you hope it will. You can drive enough clicks to get leads still, but just imagine if all those things were working together and were genuine and real, and people could see that, how many more people would actually convert from the other efforts you're doing by getting, you know, found. So yeah, so that's awesome that you guys kind of have all those things working together, trying new things, video, YouTube. I was talking to a divorce lawyer a few months ago, they have a podcast kind of like this, but they just talk about divorce law they're in Colorado. They get tons of clients from their podcast, which I thought was very interesting. And so not many law firms that I talk to have a podcast. And so, I would encourage people to take a look at that because it's a huge opportunity.
We are actually, it's funny that you say that. We're launching our podcast here shortly. It's called the Happily Ever After Divorce podcast.
Love it.
And yeah, it's very exciting. I'm going to be the host of it. Right now, we're doing the bios. So soon when you are able to click on our website and click on a particular attorney, you're going to hear me interview them a little bit. And so you can actually hear some of their background and what drives them and their passion to family law. The other thing that we'll be doing with the podcast is we're going to have some people come on and talk about their experiences going through a divorce, the good, the bads, the uglies, and then have some experts on just talking about what you kind of the pitfalls you need to watch out for, and particularly things like small businesses, which we know can cause a lot of problem in divorce. So I'm very, very excited to be launching the podcast.
That is awesome. That's good to hear. So the website address again at the bottom, it sounds like it's going to be up on there soon when you have it live. So that's excellent. So if you need any help, let me know. I talk about how to set up a podcast all the time, but
awesome.
And I've been podcasting for quite a while, but yeah, it's fun. It allows you to get information out. It allows you to it helps me retain information too, that, and I get to learn more about, in this case, your industry. You're a managing partner who is usually our client. So how do you run your firm? What do you care about? All the things you just said are things that for us is, okay, what do our clients care about and what should we care about for them? Because we're making the websites, we're doing the marketing. So, for us, it's constantly learning what's working and what's in your mind and what, you want to see happen. So it's, the podcast has been great for us, and it's great to see that some firms, I haven't heard of a lot of firms doing it, but every once in a while, like yourself, I come across one where they're doing it and it's working very well for them. So kudos, you guys are really on the cutting edge, I think. So, and I think the other thing is podcasting. People think podcast is like so old school or it's been around forever, but it is hot right now, especially. And I just gave a talk the other day, and there's 1.88 billion websites active right now, and there's only 2 million podcasts.
Wow.
100 million Americans at least listen to podcasts every month.
Mm-hmm.
So there's people listening, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity. I mean, there's not a lot of podcasts out there. So if you can niche and find something like that, you can gain a lot of, good listenership and get yourself out there pretty easily. So.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I'm super excited about it. We've been working on this for a while.
Awesome.
We would have liked to have it launched over the summer, but as you probably know, things don't always run on the timeline you set.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, the biggest.
I probably should have talked to you about what the heck I was doing first.
No, that's fine. And there's a couple different ways you can do the podcast too. So I give a talk on just like choosing which way to go, and it's really just getting started. When me and my partner started our own, we have a personal podcast, not this one. That's daily. And I started by recording on my phone with a head earbuds, and until we bought a mic and we got some software. So it was better to start because we just, I heard a lot of people that just never kick it off. They plan, they prepare, and they just never actually start it. So just one tip is just start it. You might not like the first one. You might sound terrible. You might not like the way you sound or how it went, and that's fine. It's like a wedding. It's not going to go perfect. So, but if you can do it over again, you get the next episode. So you just got to keep cranking it out, mix it up, ask for feedback, and just tweak along the way if you have to.
I think that's great advice. It's rip the Band-Aid, just do it, Shawna.
You just have to rip the Band-Aid, and you're going to mess up, and something's not going to go perfect. And just like right now, I could have I don't have dogs here at the office, but it could be something that happens. The internet could go out right now, and like we had backstage, like we had a blip in the internet for a second. So it's just got to go with the flow and just have fun with it. And I wish you guys all the luck with that. next question before we start to wrap up is, what do what's kind of the vision? What are you and the owner what are you planning for the next year, 2 years, 3 years for growth? What's on the radar other than the podcast, of course?
Well, yes, other than the podcast. We do a lot of charity events as well, and I think we want to continue to do that. I would love to be hosting some 5Ks, locally. Again, giving back to the community is such a huge part of our integrity, is such a huge part of our guiding values, that I think it's important to focus on those things. We do want to expand. We are called the Atlanta Divorce Law Group. We are located in Alpharetta, but in Atlanta, it's the greater Atlanta area, which is pretty big. And there's many counties here, which for the attorneys out there, they know that there's, each county has a different court. So we like to have our attorneys specialize in one or two of those courts. So we do have satellite offices at the moment in Buckhead, and we have a physical office in Marietta and a satellite office in Suwanee. What we would like to do is go ahead and develop those out to full-blown staffed offices in the next 2 to 5 years, and then move beyond perhaps the greater Atlanta area. We like the ADLG logo, so we're looking for other A names. So maybe, I keep teasing it could be Antigua, with the Antigua Divorce Law Group, but we're not quite there yet.
Nice. That's awesome. So you guys have a clear plan of attack and serve the community. That's a huge piece there, and continue to build that out. And so that's good that you guys have that vision and kind of know what you want to do next. So that's awesome. What's the best way someone listening could connect with you, reach out, whether it's another attorney, or maybe it's just someone that's actually in the Atlanta area that really could use your all's help? Well, what's the best way to connect with you personally, that you're willing to allow, I guess? And the website.
Well, of course, look us up at the AtlantaDivorceLawGroup.com. I do think it has a lot of information. There is a contact us page. There is some really nice free download this if you're interested in divorce, download that if you're interested in adoption. So again, a lot of things that are just information. You can reach us at 678-203-9893 as far as giving us a call. To get on my schedule, you have to get past the schedule girls, and they are vicious even to me, but you know what? They will get you on my schedule, and they will make sure I am there and available for you.
And somehow I was able to get on her schedule to have her on the podcast.
Yeah, you guys worked really well. Your schedule has worked really well with my schedule.
So you have to kudos to one of my people that set this up. So.
Yeah, very good job, by the way. I loved how they sent me reminders and here's your questions. I love that. You guys have done a fantastic job preparing me for today.
Well, I appreciate that. And any tips you need, help on the podcast stuff, I'm available anytime. And we'll end the recording here in a minute and stay on. We can chat for a second backstage. And again, you got any questions for me? Anyone else too listening, podcasting for your law firm? Happy to talk to you. I have a presentation. I have a slide deck I can share, whether it's the simplest form or a more in-depth, kind of like what we have here. Happy to share how you repurpose the content. So we do so much with this, and we're just kind of getting warmed up with it. But it's been a great thing for us. It's worked well. So anyone's got any questions about that, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. And we're actually considering offering a more of a service for podcasting, because we have a lot of our clients asking us for that. So that's something we're toying with right now. We have to figure out how we're going to do that, but I hope we can do that. That would be really cool. So anything else you'd like to share, Shawna, before we go?
No, I think that was it. I really do appreciate you. I think this is a wonderful forum, and I really appreciate you inviting me on. Yeah,
well, love your story. Love kind of where you came from. And, kind of, you didn't want to be an attorney, and you kind of walked yourself into it, and you just never know where life's going to take you. But it sounds like you're in a great spot, and I'm happy for you guys and the growth and the things that you're doing. I hope others would take these lessons and apply them for sure. to check out this episode. It will be live. Well, it's already live right now on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. Shawna will have a dedicated page on our website in the next couple of weeks, arraylaw.com/podcast. And then anywhere else you get your podcast on your mobile device or your car, that'll be up as well soon on there. And then we'll be featuring her on our Instagram and LinkedIn and stuff like that over the next couple of months as we get that content created. Shawna will also provide you and your firm with all that content, video clips and some cool quotes that you said. And so we'll be at work trying to get all that stuff together, and we'll provide that to you guys. And if you need help with digital marketing, growing, getting those clicks, but also having a website and thinking about the content and make sure that it's not just, sales copy and just trying to make someone click. Or a lot of times I see people just have like literally the definition of the practice area or a definition of the law. That's their content. And so take a look at her website. It's completely the opposite of that. And if you need help with that, check us out at arraylaw.com. Happy to talk to you about how we can help you guys get into a place where like Shawna's group is. So that's all I got. Shawna, just stay on with me. Everyone else, have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.